Welcome back on this episode of Mike's Tool Reviews. You saw it before in the Craftsman haul video. This is the Craftsman 6-inch variable speed grinder. And this is going to be kind of a quick one. There's really only a couple issues with it. I'll go over the features and tell you what I think about it. So, I bought this because I grew up, my father had a bench grinder, and I used it a lot. And you know, I've had this house for a couple years now, and I've been trying to outfit it with the tools that I grew up with: air compressor, ratchets, sockets, wrenches, grinder. You know, I'm trying to replicate the tools that I remember using growing up, and I've been using tools since I was a little kid, and the bench grinder was one of them. And this uh, is a lot more feature filled and a lot nicer than the one that my father had as I was growing up. His had a cracked disc ever since I can remember. Had a much smaller motor. I believe it was a 4.5, maybe 5 inch. It was the discs were smaller than this. These guards were much smaller. Everything about it was less than this one. And I did some research, and I figured out the one that I really want was either a jet or a Baldor. Um, but those are professional machine shop grinders. I really don't need that. So I went with this, which I consider to be mid grade, not the best, but it's better. It's definitely better than a Harbor Freight. So I'll go over the features. Something that they don't list anywhere on the features or anywhere on the box is it comes with this. This is a truing tool, or a cleaning tool for the disc. If this was to get gummed up with some aluminum or some soft metal or just years of use, you know, it would accumulate particulates in the facets in the wheel. And these little spikes, this spins, and this is for truing. This isn't the best truing device, but it works. It does work. And I know that it works because this disc here is actually both of the discs or wheels that come on it are pieces of shit. I'll get into that, but let me go over the basic features. So that comes there on a nice little stand because, you know, I don't know. That's good that it has a holder. I'm less likely to lose it, and it's not really in the way of anything. It is variable speed. You have this dial here, and it goes from 2200 to 3600, 2000 to 3400. It says right on there. It's got a 2.5 amp motor and a 1/2 inch arbor diameter. That's the numbers. It has a safety switch, which I was gonna glue it in, but it's actually in there pretty good. So if you take that out, the switch doesn't do anything. It comes with this light, which I put a LED in. Just hang it over the front. You can really get a good view of what you're working on. The snake kind of bendable arm here isn't really the best. It really isn't that tight, but I guess it does the job. You know, I don't even know if I'm going to use it that much. If I go like a year without using this, I might just remove that altogether. But I probably will use it. It has these two large shields that are adjustable, and you can damn near cover up the whole thing with it. So maybe even if you were working on this side, you could just almost completely you could make it impossible that you could accidentally hit the other side while you're working over here. So that's good. They're actually a little. I thought they were massive when I opened the box, but you know, if you're standing above it and you have it like that, plus safety glasses, you're fine. Nothing's gonna come and get you. And you have this spark arrestor here, so any sparks that are traveling back through the cover don't come shooting out at you, or any kind of metal or anything you're grinding. Kind of directs the debris to the side, and you have nice sturdy. These look to be cast aluminum, really thick grain structure, like maybe some shitty cast aluminum, but they are pretty sturdy. The brackets for them are steel, and they're really thick, bolted on with 2 bolts to the inner part of the cover. So they're, you know, this is mid-grade. This isn't the best, but they're sturdy enough for me. If this was running, even with this all the way tight, you could probably push it in to get it to make contact with the wheel. Also on this side, oh man, I tightened that up a lot. Here we go. Has this drill bit attachment and that is for getting the proper angle on your drill bit tips. I don't know if I'm going to use that. I'm going to give sharpening my own drill bits a try. I know it is kind of a acquired skill. It's not something that anybody can just go and do, but I'm going to give it a shot because I have the option. The guards on the outsides are, I guess, toolless removal. There's no screws or anything, just these thumb wheels. Take 3 of those off, the cover comes off, and then you can access the bolt that holds the wheel on. It came with this quench tray, so you can fill it with water or oil, and if your part is heating up after a lot of grinding, put it in here, cool it off really quick so it doesn't change the metal structure. I'm a dumbass. It had a little lip on the back. You can see, you can't really see it. It had a little lip and it fit in this little groove. I stuck it in there, and then for whatever reason I tried to tilt the whole thing forward and snapped that off. I wasn't really too excited about that feature, but I mean, it can just sit there. It doesn't have to clip on. It's got a nice cast iron base. The motor is pretty heavy. This whole thing probably weighs about 25 pounds, I'd say. I really don't know for sure. But it's all there. It's everything I kind of wanted. I wanted big tool rests. I like the big visors that flip down. I wanted a light, and I wanted variable speed. And this kind of met all my criteria. And part of the reason I ended up with a Craftsman is because Sears is right down the street. I went to Home Depot. I guess they kind of phased out selling bench grinders. So I didn't really have much of a choice. There was this, the 8-inch, which I just felt like I didn't need something that big, and it was like $50 more than this one. And then they had another 6-inch, which didn't have as many features. It didn't have a light, didn't have variable speed, or maybe it did have the light, but I really wanted the variable speed. 3,400 RPM with a finer, smaller, piece of work or something that you're working on. You can remove too much material very easily, and I like the fact that you can turn it down and grind on it a little slower. Now, for the negatives. This wire wheel, I guess it's okay. It looks like it's a brass wire wheel. It wasn't treated very well in manufacturing. There's all kinds of little stragglers sticking off to the sides. And I'd assume when they manufactured it, it wasn't like that. But I'm sure going through the processes and moving it around, these kind of get bent down a little bit. I haven't really used this part yet, but it seems okay. It does, if I get the correct tolerances here and here, which everyone suggests, or I've read that it's like a 1/16 of an inch, it does make a little bit of contact with these, but just barely. But I wanted these in here nice and tight, so after time I'm sure that will go away. Eventually it's gonna make its own clearance. This sucks. This grinding wheel is fucking terrible, and I'm going to have to replace it. In fact, I think I'm going to replace both of them. I'm going to get 2 quality grinding wheels of different grits, and then I'm going to get a nicer wire wheel, because I'm not happy with either of them. And I know if you buy like an angle grinder or a bandsaw or anything that sort of thing, usually the cutting or grinding implement that comes with it sucks. But you wouldn't think that they would do that with something like this, because these aren't, they're not as cheap as a angle grinder disc. I don't know how much a high quality disc cost, but just goddamn it, this is $130. Don't include a piece. This is like Harbor Freight quality. And the main issue is that it wobbles. The hole is not only it was not drilled in the center. That's kind of an important thing. It's not drilled in the center. It was drilled off center a little bit to where I had to use the truing device to knock down that wobble. It had a wobble this way. And then after I got it good in that respect, where I could hold something up against it and it would grind very evenly, it wasn't bumping into it, it was an even surface, I noticed that the disc wobbles this way. Because not only is the hole not drilled center, it's not drilled straight. It's like the thing, imagine this, if you had, they're drilling that disc. Imagine, this is the flat surface that it should be on. If it's parallel on both sides, you drill a hole straight down, that hole is going to be perfectly perpendicular to the disc. it's almost as if there was a shim under it when they drilled it. So really, that hole, this is an exaggeration, but the hole went in at an angle, which causes it to wobble like that. So this is trash, and I'm not real happy with this either. Here, I'll show you. There we go. There's the vibration. Oh, and at a certain... At a certain RPM, it's I guess it's resonance RPM. It vibrates so much that this does come in contact with the wheels. You saw that. I wasn't touching it at all, and sparks are shooting out. It just vibrates the whole workbench. I feel like shit's gonna fall off the tool wall. Not happy with this disc at all. It seemed to grind okay. I sharpened a lawnmower blade on it, and it was okay. But it needs to be replaced. I need to spend another $50 on this thing to get it where I want it. So if you have any suggestions, if you know of a company that makes exceptional grinding discs or wire wheels for bench grinders, let me know down in the comments, because these have got to go. In fact, I don't even want to use this with these in here. I was troubleshooting the hell out of it. I took the cover off. I verified that it's not that axle, or it's not the shaft going through the motor. That spin's true. I thought maybe it was mounted off center, or the hole going through the disc was a little too large, or one of the washers was bent, causing it to cant slightly. But no, it's this fucking disc. It's a piece of shit. And like I said, I don't know if you can hear that. You can hear these, like a couple stragglers making contact with this or this. If I free that up completely and make it have nothing touching, there's a pretty big gap here and a pretty big gap up here. So I'd rather just let that one work itself out. But this is kind of unacceptable. I mean, this is heavy. It's quality. I took the discs off of it and ran the motor. It's relatively quiet. It's not as quiet as the Pro machine shop versions, but with the discs on it, this thing, I feel like I have to bolt it down so it doesn't walk across the fucking table. And this is worthless when it's vibrating, because it just, or if it's back here, it just falls back, So it's got some issues, but at the end of the day, once I work the issues out, I'm sure it's going to be a great grinder for a lot of years. But just come on, I mean, it's not a $50 grinder. I mean, there's a skill. DeWalt, I bet they don't come with shitty discs like this. For whatever reason, they went really cheap. Where the rubber meets the road. The most important part of the whole fucking thing is a piece of shit. I would have rather this be $125 and have no discs on it at all, and I gotta provide them. This is like a slap in the face. I'm not happy about that at all. But I'm gonna get it worked out. The motor's got a really nice thick casting. Everything, all the accessories, the tool rest, everything's pretty tight and pretty well made. I can't really complain about any of that stuff, but you have one job, to make that nice. Also, it came with this tool. This, I'm not even really sure. This is the tool rest section. If you grind the wheel down and you need to scoot the tool rest in. That's what that end is for, and this end is to hold the axle while you loosen the 19mm nut at the end to pull the wheel off. So, that's something. Like I said, as the tool itself, I'm really happy with it. I like the tightness and the thickness of all this metal. That's on par with a $130 grinder. This is on par with a $25 grinder. So that's my review of the Craftsman 6-inch variable speed grinder. Overall, I like it, but these have to go. So, all right, thanks for watching.